Was one extended committee meeting that took center stage, and it sets up a major vote for next week. Lawmakers are weighing a proposed legislation that centers on fentanyl. House Bill 406 would create a new crime of trafficking in fentanyl for knowingly manufacturing, delivering, or possessing 4+ grams of various fentanyl-related substances. And the penalties would be mandatory minimum prison sentences of 3 to 10 years. The legislation would also create another new crime of drug-induced homicide. If someone violates the trafficking laws and provides controlled substances like fentanyl to someone who then dies as a result of taking the substance. The penalty would be life imprisonment. Lawmakers say that the concept is not meant to capture the personal users. It is intended to make it clear for the punishment that it's very serious here in Idaho for those who choose to manufacture, deliver, or bring into the state large amounts of fentanyl. Two very different perspectives, though, on the law. One camp thinks that this is a strong message to drug dealing operations to avoid Idaho or go to prison forever. The other camp, they understand that argument, but they worry that there are circumstances that could land people in serious trouble, people who are actually victims themselves. Former Ada County prosecutor Jean Fisher is in Camp 2. She shared a thought during public testimony, floating the question, how does this proposed law compare to what's already on the books in Idaho?
It does not require, it does require a criminal act. That is the turning over of drugs, but it does not require any intent to kill. It sounds very much like involuntary manslaughter, and quite frankly, it's much easier to prove. Causation issues in the drug-induced homicide is very difficult. How do you prove that the last person who gave something to someone caused their death? It is a problem. Most people involved in this are polysubstance abusers, and they're going to get ensnared by it. I'm also very concerned about the juvenile aspects of this because they will fall under the mandatory auto waiver for juveniles, which is a huge issue that you should be concerned about.
And that waiver essentially means that a juvenile, 16 and under, would be charged as an adult. So law enforcement from around the area testified in favor of the legislation. We also heard from Grant Loebs. He's the prosecutor for Twin Falls and on the board for the Idaho Prosecuting Attorneys Association. He testified in favor of the law. He believes the strong nature of the law will deter major drug dealing operations.
It's very difficult to answer every single tiny little what if this, what if that hypothetical, because everything is fact dependent. But the thing is that these kinds of mandatory minimums deter the people we want to deter. They deter the big dealers, they deter the cartels, because as I said, everything they do is business based. They don't want to go to prison for 10 years. They don't want their lieutenants to go to prison for 10 years because, you know, in every business, manpower costs you money. So the point here is to put this bill into place to let the drug dealers know that we're serious about this, that if you deal in large quantities in the state of Idaho, you are going to get hammered, and therefore, being intelligent human beings and in a business to make money, they will say, why bother with Idaho? Let's just go next door. Let's go to Utah where they don't care. Let's go to Nevada where they don't care. Let's go to any state surrounding Idaho where they don't care. We'll make just as much money and we won't go to prison for 10 years.
Lawmakers in the House Judiciary and Rules Administration Committee will think everything over the weekend. They listened to several hours of testimony this morning and this afternoon. So they're expected to vote on the proposal on Tuesday. We will keep an eye on it. There's a lot to get into from both sides.